legend's wake, reality trembles. The phrase is more than poetry, it is a warning. Some myths never die. They wait, quiet, until the world is weak. Then they rise, not as stories, but as disasters that scar the earth. This is the true account of how a legend returned in the most terrifying way possible. They called it the season of the Frankenstein Bunnies. It began one cold March morning in Fort Collins, Colorado. A shaky phone video showed a rabbit with grotesque horn-like growths behind its ears. People laughed. They compared it to the old Jackalope hoax, a roadside joke from the 1930s. The clip went viral within hours. Memes, jokes, and legend reborn headlines filled the internet. But locals noticed something different. This wasn't one rabbit, it was many. Whole fields moved with them. Tourists came to take selfies. Families parked cars to toss food. But soon, gardens vanished overnight. Fence lines collapsed. The growths made the rabbit slower, but not harmless. They gnawed, tunneled, multiplied. The turning point came during a Little League game. A wave of rabbits surged from a drainage culvert and spilled across the outfield. Players climbed fences, parents screamed, and an old man fell from the bleachers. The ground churned to mud beneath hundreds of frantic feet. The video hit every national broadcast. No one was laughing anymore. Experts gave it a name: shop papillomavirus, a real disease that forces horn-like tumors to grow on rabbits. It wasn't supposed to spread to humans, but fear spread faster than facts. When the animals swarmed through backyards, chewed wires, or froze in headlights, no one saw sick wildlife. They saw monsters. By April, the population exploded. Mild winter, fewer predators, fertile fields. It was perfect for a plague. Cars veered off highways to avoid swarms. Substations failed as wires were shredded. Families woke to clawing beneath floors, their pets barking through the night. A grain truck swerved on Highway 14, crashing into several vehicles. Lives were lost. The papers didn't call it a rabbit disaster. The people did. County halls filled with frightened residents. Could the virus infect soil, crops, pets, children? The truth, it could not. The virus stayed locked to rabbits, but it altered people. Sleepless nights became panic attacks. Children refused to play outside. Parents scanned lawns with flashlights before stepping off porches. Every scrape at the window felt like claws. Hospitals saw spikes of stress-induced chest pain. Therapists were overwhelmed. The virus infected minds more than bodies. Authorities built fences, set traps, and tried to thin the numbers. Volunteers carried cages into fields. Then came the mall incident. Fireworks exploded near a containment zone. The blast sent hundreds of rabbits into a stampede. Fences fell, traps overturned. Volunteers were knocked down and clawed as the ground rippled alive. No one died, but dozens were hospitalized. The footage spread like wildfire, captioned with one word: plague. Weeks later, heavy rains struck. Burrows collapsed beneath hillsides, dragging down fences and tilting homes. One night, a reservoir berm gave way. Water tore through neighborhoods. A truck was swallowed sideways in the current. The driver escaped, staggering into waist-deep water while alarms screamed across the valley. It wasn't just rabbits anymore. It was infrastructure failing under their endless gnawing. The county fairgrounds became a command center. Tents for food and aid lined the lots. Families huddled there for safety. But fear never rests. A live streamer brought a fake jackalope mount for views. The crowd grew restless. Arguments turned to shoving. Then the cages tipped. Rabbits bolted through the camp. Families scattered, tents collapsed, volunteers trampled. Children were pulled into arms as parents screamed their names. 18 hospitalized, 2 critical. The disaster was no longer outside the town, it was inside. By July, drought arrived. Rabbits had gnawed fields into dry stubble, perfect tinder. A spark from a downed power line lit the grass. Engines sank into burrowed ground. Flames spread fast. Embers rained onto rooftops. Phones lit with evacuation alerts. "Evacuate now! Do not delay!" A school bus carrying evacuees tilted as a burrow collapsed under its tire. Passengers climbed out into smoke, coughing as fire pushed closer. That night, neighborhoods burned. Dozens were left homeless. Nature finally fought back. Coyotes returned in packs. Owls swept fields at night. Hawks filled the skies. Predators adapted quickly, thinning the weakest. And the virus itself, violent but unsustainable, burned out. Infected rabbits grew heavy with tumors, unable to feed or flee. Many died on their own. Their bodies fed scavengers. The cycle shifted. By late summer, the endless waves slowed. Burrows emptied. Fields grew quiet again. But people were not the same. Farmers lost entire crops. Families abandoned homes torn by flood and fire. Schools closed early as children carried nightmares into classrooms. The virus hadn't touched human blood, but it carved itself into human minds. Months later, locals swore they still heard scratching in the walls, even when nothing was there. Some froze at the sight of tall grass. The Frankenstein bunnies had become more than animals. They were a memory that wouldn't let go. And as recovery began, the Jackalope legend spread again. Shops sold mugs and postcards, not with humor, but with dread. People whispered that the horns weren't disease, but a curse, that Colorado had been warned. Scientists repeated the truth, but myths thrive where fear survives. One autumn afternoon, a child found a rabbit under a school bench. It breathed fast, trembling, a pale nub rising from its head. She didn't touch it. She told her teacher. A wildlife tech carried it away, wrapped in a towel. He told her, "Don't be afraid." But don't forget, because forgetting would mean it could happen again. The fires cooled. The rains returned. Houses were rebuilt. Yet silence carried a new weight. The virus ended with time, predators, and collapse. But the memory never left. Sometimes the smallest creatures, twisted by nature, bring the greatest terrors, not through blood, but through fear. Legends don't need to be real to destroy lives. They just need people to believe long enough for disaster to grow.